Good morning and happy Friday at WFRN. It's 7:22. It's Triple P time. Doug and Cody and Trisha with you on a wet Friday morning. Trisha, it's not going to get out of the 60s today.
I know. I'm kind of excited.
I know.
It's so refreshing.
You like the cooler weather?
It'll be nice and comfortable.
I do too. So have you encountered many raindrops yet today? Has it been wet where you've been?
It's been soaking where I came from. Like last night, I prepared ahead of time. I parked my car as close to the door as I could because I knew it was going to just be pouring.
Smart.
That is smart.
Yeah, my poor husband, he had to go like down the driveway to get to his car because I got close to the house.
That reminds me of college pranks where people would, once my friends took my car keys while I was sleeping in my dorm room, and they parked my car right in front of the main entrance doors to the college cafeteria. And nobody could get in.
Oh, no.
Nobody could get in. And campus security came.
And it made it look like it was your fault.
Yeah.
It was your car.
They were kind of like, they woke me up. Some morning, I was actually an upperclassman because I was driving. So I went to class as an upperclassman. I wasn't a freshman. And but I just didn't have classes that morning. I got woken up, knock on the dorm room door, and I was just like, trying to figure out what was going on, and the campus safety officer was just trying to do his job, but talking like it was my fault, or I had interrupted the flow of life on campus. And I was trying to figure out what he was talking about. I said, I don't know. Finally, I realized. I said, I must have taken my keys while I was sleeping.
Oh no!
And the funny thing is, when you're like a 20-year-old college kid, that feels like a hug from your friends. I love it. I did laugh about it later with them.
They did it because they love you.
They did it because they love me.
Oh, my word.
So anyway, thanks for reminding me that I hadn't thought about that in a while.
Glad you have a happy memory.
So you didn't park so close to your front door that you couldn't get it open?
Nope.
Okay, because that was the case at the college cafeteria. Yeah. Well, we know that this week.
Glad you made it.
Trisha, thank you. Yeah. A few students might have gone without breakfast that morning. If any of them are listening, I apologize on behalf of my friends.
It was probably the campus safety officer who was hungry. He couldn't
That's
get
why
in
he
there.
was slightly irritable.
Like, Doug, move your car.
That does explain it, actually. Well, Trisha, we love Triple P Parenting on Friday mornings here at WFRN. And this morning is the To Be Continued, right? Part 2 of a special 2-part series.
Yeah, you had a great question last week. Like, hey, we should have consequences if they don't do their chores, right? Like,
it ended perfectly.
Yeah, totally.
You're like, that's what next week's about.
Yeah.
So getting kids to do chores.
Yeah, we want to raise successful adults. So to do that, chores is a great learning experience. And yes, you definitely should have some sort of consequence as a backup because our kids are human, just like we are. We know they're going to fail. It's okay. Just have a plan of action on how to deal with it. So again, that's the first step. Plan ahead. Have something in place before you're in the heat of the moment because you don't want to lose your head and lose all your self-control. You want to model self-regulation. You want to model how to handle problems and challenges in a good, level-headed way. So to do that, you got to plan ahead.
Okay, that makes sense. So you're all ready.
Thank you for giving us permission to plan ahead. Because to me, that sounds, if you already have a consequence in mind before they've even failed, it almost feels like you don't believe in them. Like as a parent, that's how I kind of feel.
Okay.
So I tend to not think ahead on a consequence because I don't want to believe that they're going to need it.
I can understand that. That makes sense.
That's why I don't plan ahead. Nobody gave me permission. Otherwise, I would. No, I'm kidding.
Well, if you think back to school, our teachers knew we weren't going to get our tests right.
Right.
So they give you the pre-test for practice, lots of studying. They hit up those weak points.
Ooh,
they give you the test. And then even after the test, I remember my teachers, if most of the class did really poorly on the test, they went back again. And then they would retest. So as a parent, we have tons of flexibility when it comes to raising our kids.
That's a great analogy. Very cool example. Yeah.
God doesn't expect perfection from us, so why should we do it with our kids?
Yeah, that's a great
He knows
point.
we're going to fall and we can stand back up. So before you implement the consequence, you need to make sure that when you've introduced the chores with your family and you've got the chore sheets out, just put that out there. Like, if these aren't done, this is what's going to happen. And so your consequence could be like the loss of an activity, TV time, video games. Maybe they don't get to have somebody to come over and play. Figure out what, again, is going to make your kids tick and like what would be motivational or, distressing to them in a healthy way. It
took mom and dad, I think, some trial and error to realize that when they took everything away from me and sent me to my room and took everything away but books, I was happy as a clam just reading in my bedroom. So it took them a while to realize that.
But they figured it out.
They did figure it out. They did.
Yeah. And then make sure that, have your standards set in place with the expectation. What does having your chores done mean? So our version as a parent of having a chore completed, like the dishes done, could be very different from the kids. So this past week, excuse me, I had my kids do their chores and I divided them up, and one of my boys had dishes. And I asked him to do all of the dishes that were on the counter, including the pots and pans.
And do all the dishes could mean different things to different people.
Exactly. Now, I know with him I have to be very pointed. So I was like, I need you to get as many dishes in the dishwasher as you can. Start the dishwasher, make sure it's done, unload it when it's done. Everything else that can't fit in the dishwasher, I need you to wash by hand and put those away. So I know I have to be really detailed with him. Now, we didn't have tons of dishes, but he hates having to wash them by hand. So, like, his brain just totally forgot all of that. So my consequence when I came home, there was a lot of dishes that were still not done. So the consequence for him was he had to do dishes again until he got it right. So it took him 3 days before he, like, finally accomplished it, because he had to, like, keep going because, 3 days, you keep making more dishes.
Right.
So he did more, but he finally did. He's like, okay, I get it now.
Right.
So
that's good. Yeah. Define the completion.
Yeah.
Define what that looks like. In my house, our boys share a room, and clean your room to them kind of just sounds a lot like make sure there's nothing on the floor.
Yep. They shove it all under the bed.
Or make sure there's a pathway from the door to the bed.
Right. And they have this kind of long dresser, and they just stack everything up on top of it. And we'll walk in there and we'll go, no, like there's nothing on the floor, but the room is not clean. There's all of this clutter up here that you just kind of put up here.
Yeah.
That's funny.
This one mom shared with me one time, and I thought this is a great idea, and I wish I did it when my kids were younger. She went in, she cleaned her room, her daughter's room with her, taught her how to do all these different things. She's like, I love this. This is how I like a clean room to look. Let's take a picture.
Ooh.
So she took a picture.
This is the standard.
Yep. And then underneath that, she printed it on her computer, and underneath it, she had typed out, like, this is how we clean our room.
It's a room selfie.
Laundry. Yeah, and she posted it on the wall. So when she told her to go clean her room, she had a checklist to reference to and a visual in front of her of this is what it's supposed to look like.
Wow, very cool.
We're going to be taking pictures of
I know.
all of the rooms in our house. Everybody's going to think that we're selling it.
So figure out what's going to set your child up for success when it comes to getting that stuff done. Have fun with it.
All right.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah.
There's, always such great insights and tips with Triple P Parenting with Trisha. And is there another point? I don't want to cut any points off.
I would just encourage you to, if your child's not completed the chore, like, take a real look at it. Why did they not do it? So evaluate. Do they know how to do it? Did they forget? Do they need it printed out with pictures? Do they need the verbal reminders? And see if maybe there was some distractions. So, if your kids are a little bit older, were they distracted by the TV and they just could not unplug from the TV because sometimes they don't have that self-control to disconnect. So figure out what could be their stumbling blocks and rearrange some things to set them up for success.
Okay. What if one of the stumbling blocks is that the parents have not been having consequences, so they've learned that actually it's okay if they just blow it off.
Right.
That I'm sure there's strategy for, like, turning the ship around and getting back on track.
There's a learning curve. You are correct.
And that's next week on Triple P with Trisha on WFRN. Great stuff as usual. Seriously, such good stuff. Such usable, practical stuff. Trisha, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
For more information, go to tripleplcartcounty.org, and you will find not only great insight and usable information like this, but a lot of local events, classes, and resources in the Elkhart County region, and everyone's welcome, that are free of charge, no cost.
No charge, free childcare. We'd love to get to meet you. We enjoy getting to connect with everybody in the community.
By the way, when
write to us.
You said it quickly, but for any event, when you say free childcare, there should be a magic wand sound effect.
And I need to modify that. I'm sorry. At Goshen Hospital, they do not offer childcare because they just don't have the facility.
Okay.
But that's the only event that I know of.
That's the one at Goshen Hospital. But all the other events are free and provide free childcare.
Goshen Hospital's free too. They just don't have the childcare.
Yes, right.
So yeah.
Okay.
So we'd love to hear from you. Please let us know, what challenges are you dealing with, or what successes are you enjoying with your kids over the summer they're out of school, and maybe give us some ideas, please, of where you'd like to see Triple P. Do you like seeing it in the churches? Would it work better in the library? Should we do it out in the park? What's going to work for you guys as parents and caregivers that can reach you where you're at? We'd really value your input on this. It'd be really helpful for us.
Okay, so the best place for that input, feedback, sharing your experiences or any questions, the best place to share those?
Facebook, Triple P website, Triple P email.
Okay, and the email
is info@tripplepelkhartcounty.org.
info@tripplepelkhartcounty.org. And again, look up Triple P Elkhart County on Facebook. As Trisha said, it's a growing community and it's blessing a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And you're invited to be part of it, and it's free of charge. So, Trisha, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Trisha.
Bye.
So, Trisha, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Trisha.